Welcome, dear listener. I'm Jonathan Carlin.
And I'm Benjamin Carlin.
And we invite you to join us through the Griffin door, your one-way ticket to the enchanting world of Harry Potter. So grab your wands and dust off your broomsticks and join us as we unlock the dark corridors inside Order of the Phoenix, Chapter 6, The Noble and Most Ancient House of Black.
And make sure you get those two modifiers correct there, because I oftentimes think of it as the most noble and ancient house of Black. Like,
the most noble and ancient. Yeah, you're right. It's the noble and most ancient.
Most ancient. So it's like we're noble and real old,
But not most noble.
but not most.
I don't think anyone would argue they're the most noble.
Technically noble.
Technically. Noble in terms of nobility?
Yeah.
But not in terms of like being a noble person, representing the qualities of nobleness.
Precisely. Yes. It's I mean, even like of noble standing, it's like how I think that the Black family has been around for so long that they've like accrued an amount of wealth, but like it's like, I think of this house as being almost like closer to the Gaunt side of the pure blood, perspective of things.
Okay.
Versus like the Malfoy side of how it's gone down. Like the Malfoys, if nothing else, to their credit, have maintained a rather like upstanding, outward facing appearance.
I mean, no doubt. No, it's hard to know like how the Blacks were received in their day, like when Mr. and Mrs. Black were still alive.
Right.
Like, were they seen as upstanding members of the wizarding community? They're probably not nice people, but like well-known people.
Well, it's very interesting, and I can't tell if I'm putting like way too much emphasis on like the wrong things, because it certainly doesn't matter to the overall plot of the story, just for the sake of discussion. But I've watched recently through The Gilded Age, and you have kind of like an interesting perspective on like society as it pertains to life in America in the late 1800s.
It's like old money versus new money.
It's old money versus new money, and it's a very weird. Like, that's what the whole show is really focusing on, is how like the new money people have way more money than the old money. But what they don't have is the invitation to society.
Right. They don't have the tradition.
They don't have the tradition. They don't have the legacy. You've got like the old money who really, really, really wants like everything to have like the history, and like you must be the son of the son of the son of the son of the son for so on and so forth forever and always. And that's what gets you invited to the balls and your like matchmaking situations where your daughters and sons marry their daughters and sons and blah, blah, blah. And so like in a lot of ways, I tend to think of like the Blacks as like the old money, but like they're entrenched more in like the tradition, whereas like there could be like a new age version that sort of like they hate, but maybe it's just the Malfoys. I don't know. Like even though the Malfoys been around.
I don't know. But like Sirius is able to just like buy the firebolt outright for Harry. Like they still have some fortune left.
They do have some fortune left.
Yeah.
It's not like the Gaunts who have like squandered it down to two possessions, which are otherwise priceless.
Yeah.
But they otherwise live in the Gaunt shack.
Yeah.
Whereas this feels more like an estate.
A grim old estate.
A grim old estate.
Yeah.
Yes. Hence the Grimald. Anyway, so probably too much backstory on where the nobility currently lands. But I just thought that was interesting when I read the title. I was like, it's the noble and most ancient, not the most noble and ancient.
Right. Yes.
So, because otherwise, ancient by itself already dictates extraordinary age.
Yeah.
So adding a modifier to it isn't necessary. But to say the most noble would change the meaning of nobility, because nobility has tiers.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, chapter art. Goodness gracious, is Kreacher swole?
Yeah, right, man. This guy he been hitting the gym or something, dude.
He hasn't been cleaning anything. He is, however, got traps the size of well, I don't really know what the size of Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson style traps. Although his skin is mostly like, it's interesting. The depiction's interesting because his skin is described as like almost like it's falling off him or something, like drooping off him.
Yes.
He looks a little jacked in the picture though. He's just sort of like, what, who, me? Huh? You want to fight?
You talking to me, bub?
Yeah. I can't hear you. I actually don't know. I've got too much hair in my ears.
You sort of turn him into. We have a classic voice we do here at SCB, which I think is like our New Jersey tire salesman voice.
Oh yeah,
and I feel like sometimes you go into that.
I went too much into New Jersey tire salesman Kreacher.
That's it. Yeah.
Won't. Well, I could do this. Well, I can't hear you because I've got too much hair in my ears.
There you go. That was good.
Better Kreacher.
Yeah. Or like a really angry Hagrid, maybe. I don't know.
Like a really angry Hagrid. I don't think that was angry Hagrid.
No. You were good.
I can do angry Hagrid. It's a scandal, an outrage. Yeah. Lily and James Potter killed in a car crash.
I love his use of the word scandal.
I know.
I'm always like, is scandal the right word?
The right word? Apparently. Like the only way in which that's true is if it was a giant, huge, intentional cover-up, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's so true. Anyway. Okay. Do you want to kick off with our opening sentence here?
Absolutely. As always, Ben, we have Mrs. Weasley followed them upstairs looking grim. And then the dragons arrived.
How does it always work so well?
It's as if she knows she's leading them to their death. I don't like it, but here you are. I'm following you up the stairs. Here are the dragons, yes.
Yes, they are
and
here.
Then the dragons arrived.
It's like the most un-Miss Weasley thing ever to lead her children to danger.
I know.
Oh boy. But yeah, so now we're basically on the heels of the just really not so informative conversation that Harry finally got to have, where he was supposed to get all of the answers from Sirius and Lupin and Arthur and Mundungus, I think, is present for it. Harry sort of finds a great way to sort of negotiate Ron and Hermione's participation in the conversation. Arthur stands up for Fred and George, who get to remain present because they are currently of age. Ginny singularly is sent off to bed.
Yeah.
And so Mrs. Weasley at this point in time has gone full mama bear on the situation, and she is guiding them to their bedrooms and is giving the order, I want you all to go straight to bed. No talking.
As if.
As if.
No talking. Like, maybe if I could convince you not to talk about it, you'll forget that it even happened.
Right. And then she goes, we've got a busy day tomorrow. I expect Ginny's already asleep, shouted to Hermione, so try not to wake her up.
Also as if.
Fred's like, asleep? Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm sure. We heard her screaming not 10 minutes ago.
Yes, if Ginny's not lying awake waiting for Hermione to tell her everything they said downstairs, then I'm a flopper worm.
Yeah.
Which I also just added a little note there for finish the quote trivia. Because
then I'm a what?
Then I'm a what? What is Fred suggesting he would be if Ginny's not lying awake?
Yeah, a flobber worm.
A flobber worm.
Yes.
So bake that away forever.
I know. So the question is, though, does Hermione do that, or is Fred a flobber worm?
Ooh, good question. I mean, he doesn't seem very wormish the next day, so
yeah.
I'm assuming Ginny's awake.
Yeah, she gets filled in. I'm almost surprised Hermione doesn't like sneak down herself to just talk to Harry and Ron.
Also true.
Yeah.
Also true. Yeah, because Fred and George are going to apparate into their bedroom to continue the conversation.
Apparently quietly, but I don't see how that's possible.
I wrote the same note.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so they get back into the bedroom, and we get another reference to the blank picture on the wall that was now breathing very slowly and deeply, as though the invisible occupant was asleep.
Phineas Nigellus.
Phineas Nigellus Black. Yes, indeed. Chronically misunderstood students. Yes.
Everything's always about them. The least popular headmaster in Hogwarts history.
Well, everything is about them when them is Harry Potter.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. That's what the book's called. Read the title of the book, Phineas Nigellus. Jeez.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's called Hermione Granger and her friend Harry, who is the subject of a prophecy.
Yeah. That'd be great. Let's see. So they go up there. Ron throws some owl treats up to Hedwig and Pigwidgeon, and then has to explain why on earth he should possibly have to do this. Like, we can't let them out to hunt every night. Dumbledore doesn't want too many owls swooping around the place. Thinks it'll look suspicious. Yeah, but then like also, who let Hedwig in? Dumbledore? Did he meet her outside? He's like, oh, Hedwig, come read this note.
Right.
I wrote it. There you are.
I love the idea that like Dumbledore is just trying to recruit so hard that he's just got like a pocket full of slips of paper that already have pre-written the location to the Order of the Phoenix is located at number 12 Grimmauld Place.
Even though he could just tell them.
Here, have one.
Have one. Have a note, why don't you?
Hedwig. Yeah, but so either way, we still haven't really gotten a firm explanation as to how Hedwig was able to get in past the charm there, but apparently she does.
Yeah.
Then Ron goes across and bolts the door shut, which is mostly just an opportunity for Harry to ask the question, what are you doing that for?
Yeah. Kreacher, said Ron as he turned up. Because if I was him, I'd be like, well, don't do that. Hermione's probably coming down.
She wants to see us.
Yeah.
Especially me. Did you see that hug?
You see that hug, man? I mean, I figured she could sit on my bed, probably.
But yeah, so then Ron goes on to explain, Kreacher, first night I was here, he came wandering in at 3 a.m. Trust me, you don't want to wake up to find him prowling around your room. And I'm like,
why was he doing that?
One, why was he doing that? Probably just because Kreacher has no sense of boundaries, time, or anything. But I was also like, Harry has such experience with this, with Dobby, where he's been woken up by Dobby at least a handful of times.
Yeah.
And I think in Goblet of Fire, there's the situation where Dobby wakes him up unexpectedly and Harry's like, don't do that, Dobby. Like, poke me or something next time.
Which he does.
Yeah. Which he does. Yeah, exactly. So I was like, Harry's been woken up by a house elf his own share of times.
Yes.
Okay, Ron? Geez.
Right. Jeez, man.
Stop mansplaining.
Also, what on earth do you think bolting the door is going to do when you know that he can just apparate and also probably just unlock it with magic? And also, despite locking the door, Fred and George are going to also apparate into your room.
It's like the next thing that happens is people appear in the room.
Yeah, despite you bolting the door. But good job anyway.
Right. But then they kind of go over exactly what we really hammered home, I feel like, at the end of the last episode. But, I think Harry could see the outline of Ron filtering through the grainy window. What do you reckon? Harry didn't need to ask what Ron meant. Well, they didn't tell us much that we could have guessed.
Harry didn't need to ask what Ron meant. Yeah, duh.
What do you reckon? Chub the cannons?
What do you mean,
top of the table?
For breakfast? Or I'm thinking bacon.
Right? Yeah, bacon probably. Or toast.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so they point out, well, they didn't tell us much we couldn't have already guessed. And all they've really said is that the Order is trying to stop people from joining Vault. There was a sharp intake of breath from Ron. Demort, said Harry firmly. When are you going to start using the name? Seriously, Lupin, do?
Yeah, for real, Ron.
Yeah. Up until you're right about this particular situation, which does eventually happen. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ron ignored this last comment. Yeah, you're right, he said. We already knew nearly everything they told us from using the extendable ears. The only new bit was crack. But not that loud.
Yeah, but not that loud. Yeah. You two just apparated on my knees. Yeah, well, it's harder in the dark. To which I was like, is it? Why would that matter?
I literally was like, I wonder if any amount of apparating and disapparating involves like having almost like mentally visualizing, not mentally visualizing the space, like picturing it in your head, but like you can literally picture the space where you're going.
Oh. Well, you can like see through the rubber tube or something.
Almost like you can see through the rubber tube, and it's sort of like, I don't really know where I want to land, but somewhere there.
There.
Yeah.
Boom. Ah, my knees.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, can't get the page. Bam. Here we go. So got there yet, said George eagerly. The weapons Sirius mentioned, said Harry.
Let slip more like, said Fred with relish.
Yeah.
We didn't hear about that on the old extendables, did we?
What do you reckon it is? Could be anything. Yeah, but no one, as I said before, or in the last chapter, nobody even guesses a wand. Yeah, and it's like, but there can't be anything worse than Avada Kedavra curse, can there, said Ron? What's worse than death? That's a nice little question there, because Voldemort will find out himself.
True.
Yeah,
it's actually a very good point as to the themes of the entire story, which is that like death is not always this thing to be fully feared in the same way that that people tend to, especially the way that Voldemort does.
Yeah.
Voldemort fears death to the point where he never even gets the opportunity to fully die.
Right? So in a way, he's successful.
And in a way, he is successful. So there is that.
Yeah.
That would actually be like an interesting theory if there was like a prophecy that Tom Riddle himself heard that said, you will never die.
Oh.
And that like influences like his like desire, his thirst for immortality.
Right. Yes.
Because then it would sort of be like, oh, I'll never die. And it's like, well, that's true. That's true.
That's true.
Like I've never really looked at it through that lens before, but like he achieves his goal.
Yeah. He avoids death.
He avoids death.
Yeah.
It just in the form of being stuck in that weird white cloudy limbo space as like a barbecue baby thing.
Yeah, that thing. Gross.
Yeah, that thing gross. Anyway, that's how Voldemort lives on forever following the events of the Battle of Hogwarts.
Yes, neither in the world of the living or the dead.
That's right. But you're right. Yeah, so maybe it's something that can kill loads of people at once, suggested George. And it seems like this is where anybody who grew up hearing the tale of the three brothers would have been like, yeah, what about like the Elder Wand or the Death Stick?
Yeah.
You know, like now would be the moment to bring it up.
Now would be the moment. And 3 of these people apparently were told this story many times by their mother.
Twilight. That's how my mom always says it.
Midnight.
Oh, yeah. Midnight. I can't remember which way it is.
Spooky at midnight.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. And then Harry's like, or maybe it's they say maybe it's a really painful way of killing people. And he's like, he's got the Cruciatus causing pain. He doesn't need anything more efficient than that. Which, like, sure, yeah, true. So it does bring up a question like, what could a wizarding weapon look like? I mean, how many do we even end up seeing? There's basically like wands in general, and then like the sword of Gryffindor, you know.
Yeah, which is a very small.
What?
It's a very small like selection of people who ever use.
Yes,
the sword of Gryffindor, that is. But you're right. Yeah, it's like it's hard to know what this could be like. There's not many like MacGuffin grade, like just over the top atomic level weapons in the wizarding world that we're aware of.
Yeah,
like even
I guess the basilisk could be considered a weapon.
I guess so. I mean, I'm sure Newt would disagree with that.
Well, yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. You never met a monster you couldn't love.
Yeah.
Then Ron says, I hope it's on our side, sounding slightly nervous. And it's like, even that's kind of interesting because the Ministry, as it pertains to this story, this installment, is not really either. Like, you know, like it's not for the Order of the Phoenix, and it's also not for Voldemort yet. Like Voldemort will eventually take it over and have it under his reign.
Yeah.
But it's kind of interesting that it's at the Department of Mysteries because it's almost like a third party. Like,
it really is.
Yeah. So it's not on their side. And like, so that means that the Order is also having to like break rules to protect it.
Right. That's sort of the weird thing. Like even the people who work there are having to like break into the Ministry after hours every night just to stand guard over something.
Right.
Yeah.
We have a real national treasure situation, if you will,
Yeah.
where Nick Cage has to steal the Declaration of Independence to protect it.
Exactly.
It's like, okay, I can get on board with that.
There we go. That's fun. And then rub lemon juice on it or something.
Yeah, and breath.
Yeah.
It's an awkward scene.
It is a weird scene. And then Fred suggests that if it is on their side, Dumbledore's probably keeping it, said Fred. And this is another, I think, part of the same thing where it has to be like a third party. Because it's a good point. Because like, why doesn't Dumbledore just like hide the prophecy in the mirror or something?
True.
It's like there has to be this whole system in place such that like no one can go get it except Harry or Voldemort,
right.
Or the plot can't happen.
Yeah. Yep. And those limiting factors, it's like the more that we've been reading through this series in this particular capacity where we're talking about every sentence, it's becoming much more apparent how often the plot is written that way, where it's like, okay, we have to manufacture circumstances that doesn't allow for a simple solution.
Yeah.
You know, it's like we need a very specific thing to happen, which is Harry needs to go to the Department of Mysteries. But what would stop him from doing that for so long? And like, what would stop Voldemort from doing that for so long? And what would stop anybody else from getting it for so long?
Right.
Because that's the thing, right? Like if you're not the subject of the prophecy, you can't pick it up.
Right. That's the thing.
Right. So it's like even I guess the guarding is in case Voldemort himself attempts to go.
I guess so.
But that's really terrifying then if like you're Arthur, for example, or Tonks or Kingsley or whatever. Mm-hmm. It means you're sitting there all night thinking if someone breaks in, the only person it can be is Voldemort.
Yeah. Pretty much.
So it's like, if someone attacks, that's who I'm up against.
Right. I mean, I guess they try some other stuff first. They have like Broderick Bode try and get it, right?
Broderick Bode. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's an Unspeakable.
He's an Unspeakable. He's like the one who ends up in St. Mungo's.
Yes.
Yeah, because like he like sort of loses his mind after he tries to take it.
Right.
Right. And then Nagini attacks Mr. Weasley.
Right.
So it's like another attempt.
Well, and Nagini's a weird one too.
Yeah. Could she have done it?
Could she have done it? That's a great question, because we actually just made a video recently about Nagini that I think is really kind of interesting. Because especially when you meet Nagini inside of the Fantastic Beasts series, she's like a much more empathetic character. This is like a victim of circumstances as well. And but she seems like the kind of person who's like on the right side of history, I guess, at least based on where we last saw her. And so the big question is like, how does Nagini go on to be this like devout follower of Voldemort after everything? Which just seems so unlikely. But so the theory that we ultimately came up with is that like when Voldemort occupied Nagini, or like put a piece of his own soul inside of Nagini, that piece of soul like effectively won out over the living soul that was previously in the snake.
Right.
So the snake is only the Horcrux at that point in time. Like that is like the living force inside of it.
Right. Like it's not the woman from the Fantastic Beasts movies anymore.
Even though that's the container still. It's like the woman's soul has like left.
Yeah.
And so in that way, I would almost say that Nagini probably could.
Well, okay, so then this is an interesting thought, because when Harry gets to the prophecy, it says Dark Lord and Harry Potter ? Like it is not determined for sure that it is about Harry Potter.
So could Neville have picked it up?
Well, so could Neville have picked it up, or can Harry only pick it up because he is a Horcrux?
Oh,
right. Like you think it's like Harry can pick it up because the prophecy is about him, and it would almost seem like, oh, because Harry is able to pick it up, that confirms the prophecies about him.
Right.
To which you'd be like, unless he's only able to pick it up because it's about. It is confirmed to be about Voldemort, and there's a piece of Voldemort's soul inside of Harry.
Yeah, so that's like the one. Oh my gosh, that would be so wild.
That would be wild. So like, because like even afterwards, like. Dumbledore is like, I'm afraid it is you or whatever. But he doesn't say it's like they can only be picked up by people who it's about and you picked it up or anything. You know,
True.
He doesn't say that. I mean, to also be fair, Voldemort has already marked Harry like with the love thing, and like they've already been through the blood drips and the graveyard, and like it's definitely already Harry anyway.
Right. Yes. I mean, it's 6 or half a dozen when it really boils down to it, where it's like we've triangulated to the point where it's like, it's Harry.
Yeah.
It's Harry. Like, but I still think that you're right. Like where it's like, but the prophecy doesn't say it's Harry.
Right.
It definitely says the Dark Lord.
The question mark is still there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, that's so weird.
Right?
Yeah. I kind of love that.
Yeah, that's pretty weird. Yeah, that's a good one.
It's one of those great theories, because it's like it changes the way you interpret the scene, but it changes nothing at the same time.
Right. Yeah.
Like Harry could always pick it up, but just we're misunderstanding why he could pick it up.
Yes. Yeah.
Anyway, back to the noble and most ancient House of Black.
Yes.
We got way off the rails.
So I know we did a little bit there. Anyway, Molly starts coming back up the stairs, and they have to like quiet down for a sec. Mom! And then it says, Mrs. Weasley was plainly listening to see whether they were talking or not. Which is sort of like, do you think she heard the crack probably? Do you think that gave it away? Like when you apparated?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wrote that exact same. There was a loud crack, and Harry felt the weight vanish from the end of his bed. And I was like a car backfire? Or what are we talking about here? Because there's 2 of them.
Yeah.
But again, you know, we're talking like maybe there's like a skill thing involved. Like, I don't know. And like Mundungus is like worse at it than the Weasley twins, who could do it for 4 months.
Right. Yeah.
Pop. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. And then Ron says, she doesn't trust us at all, you know, which is sort of an interesting thing to say. I think, like, I mean, I guess in a manner of speaking, like she doesn't trust them to not talk, I guess. Is that what he means?
You know, it's tricky. Like, to me, I almost get like that, like the voice of McGonagall in my head. It's like, why is it whenever something happens, it's always you 3? Mm-hmm. Like I can't help but feel like Molly feels the same way. Like she knows what they're going to do. Like it may even be the case that she doesn't have an issue with telling them information. She doesn't want to tell him. She doesn't want to tell them information because she doesn't want to inform. Like if they're informed, they're going to do something about it.
Right.
And that's the problem. It's like there's the only thing to do is to prevent them from having information.
Well, that's really what Dumbledore is ultimately trying to prevent, is for Harry to do something.
It's true. It's true. Yes. But even that is like one of those things where it's like, Harry, there's certain things we're not telling you. The reason we're not telling you is because there's somewhere you might end up if we do tell you. And if you end up there, it's going to be a problem.
Right. Because it's sort of like if you tell him why it would be a problem for him to end up there, then maybe he would just listen to you.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Like it's like that might work, but instead you just keep them in the dark. And when somebody's in the dark, they're going to try to find the light switch.
Exactly.
So that's what happens.
That's what happens.
Yeah. So then I think that Harry, like they kind of like quiet down for a second, and Harry's like thinking he wants to talk to Ron some more, but it seems like he must have like drifted off into sleep in the meantime, because it's like he's kind of like listening for Mrs. Weasley coming back down the stairs, but then at the same time he hears like a whole bunch of like different creatures cantering softly up and down the stairs, and then all of a sudden like Hagrid's voice is in his head saying like, "Beauties, aren't they, Harry? We'll be studying weapons this term."
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the creatures had cannons for heads and were wheeling to face him, and I'm like, okay, lesson in screws for last year, okay? We've already been there.
Right, yeah, right. So I guess Harry's imagining the weapon as a cannon. A magic cannon.
A magic cannon.
Boom, boom, boom.
We are not pirates.
There we go.
But
It's
so
a
then
deep cut one, guys.
it was. But then the next thing we know, he was curled up in a warm ball under his bedclothes, and George's loud voice was filling the room. And I'm kind of like, this warm ball sounds kind of cozy.
I literally wrote cozy.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't hate that. I don't
Curled
hate
up in
that.
a warm ball. Yeah,
Right.
Pretty good.
Kind of reminds me of like waking up on after a cold night of camping, and you're like all like squirreled away in your sleeping bag.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yep. Let's see. But then I guess they've already started like cleaning and eating breakfast. His mom says she's supposed to get up, your breakfast in the kitchen, and then she needs you in the drawing room. There's loads more doxies than she's thought, and she's found the nest of dead puffskins, which I think like the puffskins, they don't mention that Fred and George steal them, but I think they must, because don't they then develop like Arnold the Pygmy Puff?
They do.
Yeah.
Which is like it's like a hybrid of the puffskin.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think that I wrote the exact same thing down, because we know that they keep pocketing things that they're finding in the house.
Yeah.
Including the doxies. Is it the doxies themselves?
Yeah.
That they end up doing? Yeah. So I suspect that they end up grabbing some of these and learn something from them.
I think so.
It says a nest of dead puffskins, which, you can't exactly breed dead puffskins.
Well, no. A nest of dead puffskins.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Where there were dead ones, there's probably live ones. I don't know.
Could be it. Could be it. Yeah.
Yeah, but let's see. Then they do eventually enter the room. It sounds like it's so dirty in there. The carpet exhaled little clouds of dust every time someone put their foot on it. You're like, man. Seems like that's something a spell could fix pretty easily too, though. Where's the Evanesco on the dust?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Bill's like, I'm not putting it in my cloud storage.
Yeah. Bill brings the mat back and he's like, there's dust. Who put dust in the storage?
Who put dust in the Evanesco? Oh, man.
Get rid of this stuff here. Yeah.
Yep.
Let's see. So Mrs. Weasley has prepared like, I guess, spray bottles full of a bunch of like gross black liquid for Doxycide, which apparently she's been reading about in one of Lockhart's books, Gilderoy Lockhart's Guide to Household Pests. I was like, no way that's accurate.
Dude, I thought the exact... Well, I mean, I literally wrote, it must still be accurate if not stolen information.
Well, I guess that's true. It could be stolen information.
Right. So it's like he probably didn't come up with this. He just found like the Martha Stewart of the wizarding world and took all of her tips and tricks.
Yes, Gilderoy Lockhart is Martha Stewart. Got it.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Or sort of.
Or sort of, in a way. Yeah. There was a Martha Stewart, and Lockhart just like stole her memories.
Exactly.
Yeah. Then there is a little bit of foreshadowing, though, where it says, let's see, or Molly is trying to attack Kreacher a little bit there. It says, Kreacher's really old. He probably couldn't manage. You'd be surprised what Kreacher can manage when he wants to, Hermione, said Sirius, which that is a little bit of foreshadowing here, because sure enough, Kreacher is going to pull off quite a bit of things here at the end of the book. where he leaves the house, communicates to Bellatrix and Narcissa, lies to Harry, and lures him into Voldemort's trap.
Yeah, all very true. What's interesting is that you almost took like the negative angle of how this was foreshadowing, and I was almost thinking about Deathly Hallows, where like they finally win him over, and he starts doing like a really fantastic job, and the house like seems brighter and more colorful, and the food is delicious, and the pots and pans are gleaming. And, you know, like all of a sudden, it's like he can just sort of like snap his fingers and solve all these problems, which almost makes you wonder whether or not Kreacher is keeping it filthy again on his own.
Yeah.
Like he is preventing them from really making too much like headway on it.
Yeah.
Then Sirius enters the room carrying a bloodstained bag full of what appeared to be dead rats. Just he's been up and feeding Buckbeak, who is another one of those like sort of like entities that needs to be accounted for because Sirius was the one who last had Buckbeak.
Yeah.
But doesn't really come up.
It just seems like at this point, just give him back to Hagrid, you know? Like
Exactly.
literally no one is going to notice.
No, it's going to be fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially when he has a whole herd of them, even though those don't get accounted for.
True.
You know?
That's a good point. Yes. Yeah. Only Buckbeak is the one who's getting all this like special treatment for all of year 3. And then the other ones are just like standing out in the pen being like, hey, what about us?
What about us, man? We want some dead rats.
Exactly.
Yeah. But like, Guy, you want to talk about Sirius and Harry being cooped up. I feel like Buckbeak is the one getting the real short end of the stick here.
That seems really rough.
Right?
Yeah. It's kind of like a horse-sized creature with giant wings that probably just want to be spread open.
Just wants to be like flying around. He's stuck in an attic. Ugh. Terrible.
I wonder what it was like the day they had to smuggle Buckbeak in. I said,
I know, right? What was that day like? Probably no worse than getting him on the night bus.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, where he probably got a hot chocolate.
Yeah. A toothbrush.
And a toothbrush.
A hot water bottle.
A hot water bottle for 15. Okay, let's see here. Well, Molly, I'm pretty sure this is Boggart, said Sirius, peering through the keyhole. But perhaps we ought to let Mad Eye have a shifty at it before we let it out.
A shifty?
Knowing my mother, it could be something much worse.
Yeah.
Right, you are, Sirius, said Mrs. Weasley.
Right, and we have to address the big question. I don't think I've received any question more than this ever, which is, what does the Boggart look like when Mad Eye looks at it? Can he see it in its true form, or is it transformed to look like whatever Mad Eye's afraid of?
I mean, it's a fair question. It's a fair question. And I think that we've gone in depth with this before. And I feel like what we've ultimately come down to is the sentiment that like Boggarts are the same thing as like baby Dementors. Do you remember when
I do remember this one wherein like Boggarts are defeated by laughter. They can assume the form of what scares you the most, whereas Dementors make you relive your worst fear.
Exactly. So they're both very like fear-based creatures.
Yes.
With Dementors being considerably more dangerous.
Right. So you have to force laughter at the Boggart, whereas for a Dementor, you have to make a Patronus, which is like similarly like you have to focus like really positive joy into like a physical thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And the other piece of it that I think makes a fair bit of sense here is almost comparing them to like a poltergeist. Like obviously you guys know, if you listen to the show all the time, that we tend to think of not just Peeves at Hogwarts as a poltergeist, but also Filch. And they are sort of like equal and opposites of one another, where like Filch is almost like the boiled down version of like rule following. So think of like your Percy. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you've got Peeves, who's like your rule breaking and mischief, which is going to be like your Fred and George. And because students at school embody both of those characteristics in tremendous fashions, it literally manifests into poltergeist. Like, and that is the real explanation as to how poltergeists come to be.
Right.
Like that's where Peeves, if you don't believe Filch, no problem, but that's where Peeves comes from.
Yeah, that's like the canonical explanation for Peeves.
Correct. But so I don't find it completely unusual to think that Boggarts are manifesting in a similar capacity as well. So like Lupin, for example, finds one, you know, like the first week of classes, but also Dementors are patrolling, you know, the exterior of the castle. They attacked on the train. Sirius Black is on the loose. Like, it's a very common time for there to be fear. And so the manifestation of that is going to be the form of a Boggart, which is going to show up at the school.
Right. And like Dementors are what is known as amortal creatures, meaning that they are not alive or dead. So like when later on, I think you'll learn that like they're breeding. That's what's accounting for all the mist. It's like they're not really breeding the way that other animals breed. It just means that like more are coming into existence, and like part of that is the mist being released, I guess.
Right.
But more they are quote unquote born of like depression and fear and anxiety, which of course, while Voldemort's in charge, that's just everywhere.
Right.
Whereas like they don't really dwell well on like happiness and sunshine and stuff like that.
Yeah. And so my theory here though is that, I mean, inside of number 12, there's probably more than enough of this to go around. Like Molly alone is just a nervous wreck because of her fear for, I mean, and to be fair to Molly, like we said in last week's episode, Molly has a lot to lose. She has 7 kids, at least 2 of which are already members of the order, 1 who is estranged. Her husband is a member of the order. Like, her adopted child, Harry, is the subject of all of this. Like, and the Boggart is going to attack her.
Yeah, I know. It's like, it seems like Molly, she's like, oh, it's just a Boggart. I'll just go finish it off or whatever. But then she's like, I do wonder if Molly is not responsible for the origin of this Boggart in particular, because she seems particularly bad at fighting it.
This one
like, it's like specifically tuned to her or something.
Right. Yes. Like, which is also surprising because like, this is like a year 3 class.
Yeah.
And like Molly's a great witch.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's like there's no way in the world she doesn't possess the ability to defeat a Boggart.
Right.
But in that particular instance, it gets the better of her.
It does. And that's going to be, I think, the next chapter, though. The Woes of Mrs. Weasley.
That's right.
Yeah. Or maybe it's actually the hearing is next. I don't know. In any case, let's see. Where are we here on the page? Get me looking for where we are when you're editing this. I
think we're top of page 103.
Top of page 103 here. Okay. So the next thing we hear is someone rings the doorbell and wakes up his mother's portrait again. And it says, I keep telling them not to ring the doorbell, which honestly seems obvious when you're at the secret headquarters of the Order of the Phoenix. And yet, you know what? They will not stop. They're going to keep ringing the doorbell every time they show up, whoever it is.
It is honestly so shocking. Yeah, because it's like the only way to be arriving at the house is if you've been let in on the secret.
Right.
And so it's like there's no need to ring the doorbell.
There's no need.
If you've been let in on the secret, you're welcome to enter the house.
Right. Like when Harry got there, they didn't ring the doorbell.
No.
You know? Yeah.
I mean, all I can figure is a scenario where like unlocking all of the magical locks that are involved is complicated enough to where you need, maybe it's just easier to have somebody on the inside just like do it for you.
Yeah.
But
I guess
like,
that's probably it. They have to undo the locks from the inside.
I mean, it's maybe the best explanation.
Yeah.
But you're right. Otherwise, he's going to say, I keep telling them not to ring the doorbell, and then they're just going to keep ringing it.
Or they think this is funny. Like I could see Kingsley kind of being like,
you've got to admit, it's pretty funny.
It's pretty funny.
Classic Kingsley.
Oh, classic Kingsley. Sorry, did I set off the portrait again? Whoops.
Exactly. Yeah, so sure enough, speaking of Kingsley, that is who is here, saying that Hestia has just relieved me, so she's got Moody's cloak now. Thought I'd leave a report for Dumbledore.
Yes.
Or I should read it like this. So she's got Moody's cloak now. Thought I'd leave a report for Dumbledore.
Yes. So last night during the meeting, it must have been Hestia that was, Hestia just relieved me. Kingsley must have left the meeting to go guard the prophecy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Makes sense.
Well, he had a long day flying to Greenland and then coming back to, do a meeting and then stayed up all night,
Kingsley's just built different. Okay?
He's just built different, Yeah.
Who needs sleep?
Nobody.
Right.
Yeah. Then we get back to cleaning the room here, where Gilderoy Lockhart's Guide to Household Pests is here. I think the real reason the book is brought up is to just remind you that Gilderoy Lockhart is a character because you haven't seen him in 2 books.
I completely agree with you.
And you will meet him again later in this book. So I think that's just like, oh yeah, remember Lockhart? Good.
Okay, good. That's all.
Yeah. That's all. That's all you need to do.
You just need it. Like, and there is a kind of like unique art form that happens with these series where it's like, if you're gonna, it's almost like when you're watching, like if you're binging like a series, or like if a new season comes out, you go to like the previously on Arrow.
Yeah.
And it's like, here's all the things that are going to be like relevant for today's episode in case you forgot.
Right.
There is kind of like an art form to being like, at some point in time, I'm going to bring up Gilderoy Lockhart. I don't want to make you feel like you've completely forgotten who it is. So here's like a nudge.
Right.
Just a nudge.
There it is.
Yep.
Lockhart.
Either way, though, I have always found this like getting rid of Doxy task as being like oddly satisfying. And
It seems fun.
I don't know why.
No,
Yeah. It's like they fly out, you spray them in the face, and they seem to like fall to the ground with like a dull thud.
Thunk.
A surprisingly loud thunk.
Yeah. Dense creatures, the Doxies.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Harry picked it up and threw it in the bucket as if it would just like, I don't know, like neatly fall into the bucket somehow.
It just reminds me so much of the Cornish Pixies.
That's exactly what it reminds me
Yeah.
of too.
Which
That's
was also a Gilderoy Lockhart scene.
Right.
But like hilariously, the book that they're using to get rid of the Doxies is apparently written by him, but he couldn't get rid of the Pixies.
true.
Yeah, which makes sense because of course he definitely stole the information for this book from other people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So then this is where you also get the little hint as well that Fred and George are learning a lot about obscure branches of magic from being at number 12 because Fred is like holding a struggling Doxy between his forefinger and his thumb. And he is trying to like figure out like how it's like venom and stuff worked.
Yeah.
So he explains that to Harry, but not before we get this phrase. Miss Weasley's back was turned and he pocketed it with a wink.
Pocketed it.
So there it is for this installation. I think I got this wrong last time. It's Stephen Fry who had a difficult time pronouncing pocketed it.
Oh, not Jim Dale.
Not Jim Dale.
Got
it. But yeah, so there's the pocketed it line, which is kind of famously in every installation. And in case you forgot the little detail there, it was something that Stephen Fry had difficulty saying in Philosopher's Stone, and then subsequently got included in every book just as like a fun little joke at his expense.
And there it is.
There it is.
Yep.
Yep.
But so then we get a little preview on the skiving snack boxes, which will come into play later in the book when they're all revolting against Umbridge. George tells them it's a range of sweets to make you ill. Not seriously ill mind, just ill enough to keep you out of class when you feel like it. Fred and I have been developing them this summer. To which I always imagine that the Tun Tung Toffee was one of these because that's also like candy that makes something happen to you.
True.
But like, I guess that's not.
No, that might just be like more of a prank thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, because it doesn't seem like that one has like an obvious like just eat the other end of the chew.
Yeah, of course, how could you?
How could you if your tongue is a tongue? No, tongue is a tongue.
Your tongue is a ton. The Tun Tung Toffee.
I do love how they're like speaking in promotional jargon here though. Like, not seriously ill, mind you, just enough to get you out of class when you feel like it. Let's see. Double-ended, color-coded chews. If you eat the orange half of the puking pastilles, you'll throw up. Moment you've been rushed out of the Westfield Hospital wing, you'll swallow the purple half, which restores you to full fitness, enabling you to pursue the leisure activity of your choice during an hour that would have otherwise been devoted to unprofitable boredom.
Yeah. I love how they're like, who wants to learn? Get out of class right now. As if they're like, they're not actively like studying everything in the house, like trying to learn things to build new stuff.
It's so true.
Yeah.
It's so true.
It's the difference between being motivated about learning about like whatever you're passionate about and not being motivated.
That's exactly it. Yeah. I think I suspect that we've all been there before where it's like you find a topic you like and it's remarkable how the information sticks in your brain like it's nothing.
Yeah.
Versus like reading a textbook for, the War of 1812 and you're just like, I can't, what?
Whatever. Boring.
Yeah.
Oh, in any case, then they have the exact same problem we just mentioned with the Tun Tung Toffee with the puking pastils. Is like at the moment we're having trouble stopping puking long enough to swallow the purple end. And Harry's like, "Who's testing?" And it's like, "Us. We take it in turns." George did the fainting fancies. We both tried nosebleed nougat. Yeah,
nougat. Yeah,
nougat.
I do love that they are like it feels like very classic Fred and George to me. Like they want to create something that could potentially be dangerous, but they're not risking it on anyone but themselves.
Until they get to school.
Yeah. At which point in time, I feel like they've gone through at least a couple iterations.
Yeah.
They're fairly certain at that point. It's not completely dangerous.
Right. We gotta have a big test pool here, right?
Right.
Yeah. But apparently, even though they just got the gold in June, they've already set up a mail order business and are placing ads in the Daily Prophet. And to which their reasoning is, Mom hasn't got a clue. She won't read the Daily Prophet anymore because it's telling lies about you and Dumbledore. And I'm like, and nobody in the Order is keeping up with the Daily Prophet to see what the lies are. No one's telling Molly this exact thing. Like, you guys are the worst spy organization.
Although I do love the fact that Molly is not reading the Daily Prophet for like out of like loyalty to the people that are there. I mean,
Yeah.
I agree with you, but like, you know, I do love that, especially because back in Goblet of Fire, she was reading Witch Weekly for the recipes.
Yeah.
As Ron explains. Yeah.
Well, the recipes.
But that's where Rita Skeeter is talking about Hermione taking advantage of both Crumb and Harry, and then
She's made you have to be some sort of scarlet woman.
That's what my mother calls him.
Oh, goodness. And then there's, so he says, Harry feels he's happy that Mrs. Weasley doesn't know it was him who gave him the gold because she doesn't think running a joke shop is a suitable career for two of her sons. For now.
I literally wrote for now.
For now.
Yeah.
Boom. Same thing.
Nice. Look at that. That's so amazing.
That is.
So the detoxifying of the curtains took most of the morning, and I'm like, how big are these curtains?
How big are these curtains?
It was past midday when Mrs. Weasley finally removed her protective scarf, sank into the sagging armchair, and sprang up again in a cry of disgust, having sat on the bag of dead rats.
Why is that just in the room?
Imagine sitting on a plane. I don't know if you've ever done this. The person next to you is reading a book and you just look over and try to see if you can figure out the context by reading like a couple sentences of the book. And it's like, Mrs. Weasley finally removed her protective scarf, sat into the sagging armchair, and sprang up again with a cry of disbelief, having sat on a bag of dead rats. What is this book about?
What's that book about? And I'm like, I'm sorry, if you don't know what Harry Potter is, I can't help you.
I can't help you. Yeah, exactly.
Sat in a bag of dead rats. I can't think of a worse feeling than sitting on a bag of dead rats.
Yeah, it does seem like the worst.
Yes.
It does. Yeah. I used to have to sell rats in my first ever job.
Dead ones?
Not well.
Ooh.
I guess frozen dead ones sometimes.
Wow.
Yes.
For snakes.
For snakes.
Man.
Yeah, and then also live ones for snakes.
For snakes. Some snakes don't enjoy the hunt.
Yeah. That's actually factual.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, some snakes don't require them to be live, which makes the owners usually happier because otherwise the rat can actually be quite dangerous to the snake.
Oh.
Is what ends up happening because they can bite their scales and stuff.
I see.
Yeah.
Don't want that.
No. But anyway, probably things people don't want to think about while they're listening.
I want to think about,
their
snakes
nice,
and
cozy,
rats and stuff.
Nice, cozy podcast.
Snakes and rats are part of Harry Potter, guys. Okay.
There's nothing we can do about it.
Nothing we can do about
They're
it,
kind of
right?
a big deal.
Yeah, they're kind of the bad guys. Let's see. Then we get a very, very, very juicy Easter egg here as they are cleaning out a dusty glass fronted cabinets standing on either side of the mantelpiece. There is a selection of rusty daggers, claws, a coiled snake skin, a number of tarnished silver boxes inscribed with languages Harry could not understand, and least pleasant of all, an ornate crystal bottle with a large opal set in the stopper, full of what Harry was quite sure was blood. Oh, I'm sorry, this was not the part I thought it was.
Well, it doesn't matter because I actually think that's a very important detail to point out because the emphasis on the ornate crystal bottle with a large opal set into the stopper, full of what Harry was quite sure was blood, sounds to me an awful lot like what a blood pact looks like.
An opal set into the stopper. You are quite right.
Right? Like
ornate crystal bottle with a large opal. There is I wouldn't call the blood pact between Grindelwald and Dumbledore like a bottle, but it is like an ornate object with a large opal set in it.
I mean, it's
and blood.
And blood, yeah. So I'm kind of I literally just wrote this seems like it should be important. And is this a blood pact? And if so, with who and why?
Right.
Because there's a few layers there. I mean, I guess Regulus would be the one person other than Sirius that it could apply to as far as important to central plot based things because we don't know anything about other than the leanings of Mrs. Black. We don't know much about their parents or anything.
Yeah.
But it's is there somebody that this pact would have been between that could have been super important?
I mean, people, let's see, if it's in the Black's house and the way the blood pact is supposed to work is that, well, I don't know if it's always the same thing, if it's an unbreakable vow or something, or if it just always specifically means those two people can't fight each other.
I mean, you're right. I think that's a good point, like a good distinction, but I almost feel like it would have to be, we would have to interpret it as if it meant two people couldn't fight each other.
That's all we know, so that's how we'll interpret it. The known people who will love each other at the Black House then would be presumably Mr. and Mrs. Black.
Right.
Or any of the the parents and Regulus. Right?
Who's the parents?
Mr. and Mrs. Black.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Would they have a blood pact with, would Regulus have a blood pact with either of his parents or something?
That would be interesting.
That would be weird. It doesn't seem like, because then that is like, does the blood pact, does it have to be between two people who love each other? Like, does that mean like romantic love or familial love, you know?
It's a good point. It's a good, yeah, right. I do see what you mean, because the blood pact does sort of have like a underlying love element to it, and the idea.
Yeah.
Although
does it have to?
Does it have to? Because Grindelwald could have just been manipulating Dumbledore, but
right. Yes, that's true as well. Could have just been manipulation. Tricky. So who would it have been preventing from fighting?
Right. So I think it's just something to think about, or if anybody out there has any ideas, because is it not the case that Mrs. Black's name is Walburga?
Yeah, it is Walburga Black.
And it's like based off of like the Walpurgis Night. Walpurgis Night. Okay.
Yes, which has something to do, we made a video about this once, but I want to say with like why the dark mark is the dark mark. Like why it looks the way it does.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, what is the origin of it is like, has to do with this, like Walpurgis Night, which is like a kind of Halloween or something.
Okay.
I think.
Is that also go back to like the incantation, like where
maybe
Morse Mordray comes from?
Maybe. Gosh, I have to go back and reread that script or watch that video.
I know.
That has been a minute. I wasn't prepared to talk about.
I'm sorry. I should have properly prepared you.
No, it's totally okay.
But I did think that was really interesting, because I was like, based on the description and based on the prop design of the Blood Pact, they sound the same to me.
They do. And you have to take the prop design into consideration because there's no accompanying like novel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is always such a tricky thing because, I don't want to get into all that. But anyway, the doorbell clanged again. Everyone looked at Mrs. Weasley. Stay here, she said, firmly snatching up the bag of rats, which, by the way, band name called it.
Bag of rats?
Bag of rats.
Dang. Yeah. I come to that show so quick.
We are Bag of Rats!
Yes. She left the room, closed the door carefully behind her. At once, everyone dashed over to the window to look down onto the doorstep. They could see the top of an unkept gingery head and a stack of precariously balanced cauldrons. Mundungus, said Hermione. What's he brought all those cauldrons for? Probably looking for a safe place to keep them.
What do you mean, what's he brought all those cauldrons for? You know the story with the cauldrons.
Exactly, yes. Isn't that what he was supposed to be doing the night isn't that what he was doing the night he was supposed to be tailing me, picking up dodgy cauldrons?
What a storyline, let me just say. We're really sticking to it.
I know, yeah.
Mundungus and the cauldrons.
Yeah, you're right, said Fred. As the front door opened, Mundungus heaved his cauldron through and disappeared from view. Blimey, Mum won't like that.
Accurate.
That's totally correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Although, honestly, I don't see why not. It seems like the order could probably stand to use, like, a bunch of cauldrons just for like the very sake of like making potions or something.
Well, very well could be the case. You're right. Yeah. Like if somebody had sent Mundungus out to source these, it might make a lot more sense all the way around.
I mean, my interpretation is that Mundungus intends to flip them.
I agree.
And wants to stay them here. He didn't steal them for the sake of using them for the order.
Right.
Yes.
They fell off the back of a berm, as they say.
Yeah, exactly. But let's see. Miss Weasley, in fact, does not like it, and she begins screaming at him, "We are not running a hideout for stolen goods." And then Fred and George have this hilarious exchange. It's like, I love hearing Mom shout at someone else. Makes such a nice change.
The idiots are letting her get into a stride, said George, shaking his head. You've got to head her off early, otherwise she builds up a head of steam and goes on for hours.
Yeah.
This reminds me of Harry when he arrives at number 12, though, where it's like he gets in there and he's like kind of being like a little passive aggressive, like a little steamy at first. And then he just starts like losing it. And goes into all caps mode.
Yeah. What I kind of like about what George says always, he says, the idiots, plural, are letting her get into her stride, which makes it sound like she's yelling at not just Mundungus, but the other two down there, which would be Sirius and Kingsley.
Okay.
Which then makes it sound like Sirius and Kingsley are like, yeah, bring them in. We got room.
There's plenty of place.
And Miles like, what's this?
You're right. You're right. You're right. Yeah, the idiots are letting you get into a stride.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But so yeah, also Molly has other the real reason probably Molly's yelling at Mundungus is because he abandoned Harry, not just because he's, trying to store his stolen goods.
Yes, you're definitely right. Right. Anyway, that being said, this is when Kreacher enters the room, wearing nothing except for a filthy rag tied like a loincloth around the middle and was otherwise completely naked.
Yeah, well, he's got to show off a six-pack,
Well, I mean, naturally.
What's the point in lifting all those weights, no one's going to see it.
Kreacher looked very old. Skin seemed to be several times too big, as though it was... And though it was bald, like all house elves, there was a quantity of white hair growing out of its large bat-like ears. Yeah.
Yeah, bloodshot, watery gray eyes, and its fleshy nose. Well, it just sounds like a really disgusting looking thing.
Yeah, probably not easy to look at.
Not easy. The elf absolutely took no notice of Harry or the rest, acting as though they could not see them. It shuffled hunchback slowly, dragged toward the face, the far end of the room, muttering under its breath, all the while in a hoarse, deep voice. What is he saying? Smells like a drain with criminal to poke. No better nasty old blood trail of the brats messing up my mistress's house. Oh, my poor mistress. Yeah, so he's just a bunch of warning signs here from Kreacher.
Yeah, not the best. You can kind of tell how, like, who he's, where his allegiances lie.
Yeah, not great.
And it's very interesting, especially I think, to watch the twins interact with Kreacher, because the twins, I would say, seem like they are typically like on the right side of things.
Yeah.
Like maybe not from like Molly's perspective, but otherwise it seems like usually the case.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Hello, Kreacher," said Fred very loudly, closing the door with a snap. And then they start saying terrible things to the twins, referring to them as nasty little brat, blood traitors. And then, do you think he's referring to a twin as an unnatural thing?
That is kind of how I read it. And there's its twin, unnatural little beasts they are. Like twins are unnatural.
It's like, that's a weird.
Or are you just saying that he has a twin and both of them are unnatural?
For being like blood traitors?
For being blood traitors.
Yeah.
I mean, it could go either way. My read on it usually is that he thinks twins are innately unnatural.
That is the way I've read
Which
it
I take great offense to.
As the father of twins.
As the father of twins.
Yes. I understand.
Yeah.
I mean, to be clear, Kreacher is being very offensive.
In just about every way.
To just about everyone.
To just about everyone, yes.
And there's the mudblood standing there, bold as brass. Oh, if my mistress knew. Oh, how she'd cry. And there's a new boy. Kreacher doesn't know his name. What is he doing here? Kreacher doesn't know.
It's like he can't tell that he's not speaking in his head.
He can't tell. Yeah.
And there's the mudblood standing there bold as brass. I'm sure that's how Hermione feels. She's like, just me existing here, I'm pretty awesome for it.
I'm pretty awesome.
I'm just going to say it's pretty bold of me to even be here.
Right,
frankly,
right. The mudblood is talking to Kreacher as though she is my friend. If Kreacher's mistress saw him now, such company, oh, what she would say.
Don't call her a mudblood,
said Ron and Ginny together.
And then Hermione, bless her, he's not in his right mind. She doesn't know what he's. But the thing is, she's right, of course.
I know.
Yeah,
I know. It's just it's a lot to endure when we've just met him. It's a weird first impression. But I have often said that I think that Kreacher's like 180 is like one of like my more favorite parts of the series.
I know.
Because it's like Kreacher wants to be loved. And the person who loved him was his mistress, and his mistress being Mrs. Black.
Yeah.
And like, so, and what he does is just he apes her perspectives. And that's what it really comes down to. Yeah. Like, she was the last person who was nice to him. So what she believes is what he believes. And that's that.
That's that.
So yeah, it's kind of, it's dicey. It always is. But anyway, let's see here.
Then Kreacher finally sort of hears what they said about Harry. And he says, "Is it true? Is it Harry Potter? Kreacher could see the scar. It must be true. That's the boy who stopped the Dark Lord. Kreacher wonders how he did it. Don't we all?"
Yeah. Don't we all, Kreacher, said Fred. I love that. It's just sort of like, yeah, that's the mystery.
Yep.
You've in one, Kreacher. Good job.
In one. Yep. And then they're sort of trying to figure out what he's doing in there, and he's just sort of lying and being evasive and says he's cleaning, which of course he's not. He's trying to steal things back that they're trying to throw away,
Right.
Which we know he's moderately successful at doing.
Right.
Yes. But let's see. Sirius comes back into the room, and he's not going to make the situation any better at all. At the sight of Sirius, Kreacher flung himself into a ridiculously low bow that flattened his snout-like nose on the floor. Do you think this is like a sarcastic bow?
It almost feels like it.
Yeah.
Like he's going like over the top in a way that he wouldn't have even done for Sirius's mother.
Right.
Like it's almost meant to be like Kreacher knows it annoys Sirius to like that Kreacher is at his bidding.
Right.
And so he's like, ha.
Yes.
My subtle act of rebellion is to bow even deeper.
It's exactly, I think, what it is. So he says, "What are you up to? Cleaning. Kreacher lives to serve the noble house of Black and the most ancient." He forgot that part.
I literally wrote that. And most ancient. That's amazing. Yeah. And it's getting blacker every day. It's filthy, said Sirius. Master always liked his little jokes.
Not a joke.
Not a joke. This place is disgusting.
I know. And he's like, "Master was a nasty, ungrateful swan who broke his mother's heart." He's like, "My mother didn't have a heart, Kreacher. She kept herself alive out of pure spite."
What an exchange.
I know. Oh my God. The Kreacher's just like a little too honest. He's just like, "Oh, how she hated him. What a disappointment he was." Like, you can just tell, like, Sirius is just like, "Yeah, I'm not surprised to find out that after I left, my mother was very open about how much she hated me."
Yeah, right. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah. But then he's like, "You show up pretending to be cleaning. You sneak off to your room so we can't throw it out."
Yeah.
Which is true and also ends up eventually being rather helpful because one of the things that they're about to encounter is one of the Horcruxes.
Yes. So this is really all just setting up the locket for Deathly Hallows.
Exactly.
Yep. Let's see. This is where we get the thought that maybe Kreacher's the one setting the permanent sticking charms on stuff. It says, "Kreacher must save it. Kreacher will not let Master and the blood traitors and the brats destroy it." If talking about the tapestry that's on the wall, it says he must save it, but like if it's already permanently stuck to the wall, so there's not much they can do to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And Sirius is like, "I thought it might be that." Casting a disdainful look at the opposite wall, "She'll put another permanent sticking charm on in the back of it. I don't doubt." But I still think like this is Sirius thinking out loud, but I think it's Kreacher that's doing this.
Yeah. I think you might be right. Yeah. But on the flip side, it's like Sirius has like literally no like nostalgia or affection or anything for any of his family heirlooms. Like
Right.
he is just like happy, like despite like to just get rid of it all. You
Right.
know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
No sentimentality is the
No.
word I'm looking for. Let's see. And then, so what does he say here? "I don't doubt it. If I can get rid of it, I certainly will. Now go away, Kreacher." And then it seemed that Kreacher did not dare disobey direct order. But that's also a pretty interesting line there because it says he doesn't dare disobey a direct order or like reinterpret one to suit his needs, which is what's going to happen later when Sirius says something very similar when he yells at him to get out.
Yes. And when Sirius ultimately tells him to get out, that is like when the window gets opened for Kreacher to basically follow that instruction however he sees fit.
Yeah.
Which is to go to Bellatrix and Narcissa and pass on information to the Death Eaters.
Yeah, pretty much. Yep. Let's see. And then, Kreacher still doesn't like this. Comes back from Azkaban ordering Kreacher around. "Oh, my poor mistress." Whatever. They say he's a murderer too. And Sirius comes back and says, keep muttering and I will be a murderer. To which I just corrected and said, "And I will be murdered."
Oh no.
Oh no.
Yeah, well, it is true though. It is true.
Yeah.
Let's see here. There is then the other big thing that you kind of have to tackle, which is like another one of these problems where you need Kreacher to continue to be the problem that he is. And anybody reading the book might just simply ask the question like, well, why not just let him go? And basically the answer is we can't set him free. He knows too much about the order, said Sirius curtly. And he follows it up with the shock would kill him. But the big thing to me is the information about the order. And what's fascinating about that is because like Kreacher would have just been in this house by himself. So when they showed up, before they did anything else, they could have just set him free.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. They
Like-
could. Yeah, maybe.
Like they didn't have to start having meetings and discussing Order of the Phoenix business and all that type of stuff in front of him in his presence so that he is then a liability. Like,
Right.
you know, like they could have just gotten, like they could have just told him to go away from the start. You know,
Right.
it never would have been a problem.
And
But-
then we do have a little bit more of verbal irony here at the bottom of the page. On this exact note, it says, and anyway, the shock would kill him. You suggest to him that he leaves this house. See how he takes it. The irony here is that it is Sirius ordering him to get out that literally does make him like he says, if you tell him to leave the house, it will kill him. But actually, Sirius does tell him in a way to leave the house, and it kills Sirius.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
That is verbal irony.
Yeah.
It's a good point. Then we take a look at the tapestry on the wall, which is immensely old and faded. Looks like it went back to the Middle Ages. Large words at the very top of the tapestry read, "The noble and most ancient house of black, toujours pure," which means always pure. in
Always
French.
pure. Yeah.
"You're not on here," said Harry, scanning to the bottom of the tree. "I used to be there," said Sirius, pointing at the small, round, charred hole in the tapestry, rather like a cigarette burn. "My sweet old mother blasted me off after I ran away from home." Kreacher's quite fond of muttering the story under his breath. This is where you find out that in Sirius's own way, he kind of had to like find a home.
Yeah.
At age 16, he went and stayed with James Potter.
Well,
and
about 16, right? So 15 probably.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, when I was about 16, said Sirius, I had enough. Went to your dad's place. Your grandparents were really good about it. They sort of adopted me as a second son. So it really makes sense as to why Sirius was selected as godfather for Harry too.
It absolutely does. And I mean, it just like all fits together very nice. It's like they sort of adopted me as a second son, and now Harry is sort of adopting you as like a sort of second dad a little bit.
Yeah,
You know?
like father figure, if nothing
Yeah.
else. Yeah.
Yeah. And then by the time he turned 17 though, so it was only for about like a year, a little over a year. It sounds like that he was doing that. When I was 17, I got a place of my own. So when he told Harry that he has a house, this must be the place he's talking about.
That you're right.
Yeah.
That must be it. Yeah. When I was 17, I got a place of my own. My uncle Alfard, trivia, had left me a decent bit of gold. He's been wiped off here too. That's probably why. Anyway, after that, I looked after myself. I was always welcome at Mr. and Mrs. Potter's. Oh my gosh. I was always welcome at Mr. and Mrs. Potter's for Sunday lunch though.
Yeah. Then Harry asked Nick, why did you leave? I was like, because I hated the whole lot of them. My parents, with that pure blood mania, convinced that being black made you practically royal. I mean, that clearly, they even labeled their house, their family tree, the noble and most ancient house of black, suggesting like they have a bit of nobility in them.
Right.
So it sounds like maybe it's like a self-assigned nobility.
Yeah. That's true. We don't really like, I think that even like when Harry asks about the Half-Blood Prince eventually, like, I want to say it's Lupin says like there is no
Wizarding princes.
Yes. Yeah. So it's like they're at least formally speaking isn't wizarding nobility.
Yeah. I mean, but then you have like the Baron, right? The Bloody Baron.
The Bloody Baron. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one for a completely different reason, because it goes back to the very beginning of Hogwarts, because the Bloody Baron was a student of Salazar Slytherin himself.
Right, himself. But then like he also was like interested in Helena Ravenclaw, and then Rowena Ravenclaw had the diadem of Ravenclaw, and the diadem was basically a tiara, and like royalty are the people who wear crowns.
Right,
and it's like, was there wizarding royalty? You know?
It's yes, right. Good question.
And now as I'm saying this all loud, I'm like, am I maybe what is the hair splitting difference between royalty and nobility?
It's a good point as well.
Right.
Like, I mean, nobility may just be like a position where you like own significant lands.
Maybe, yeah. Oh boy, now I don't know. We don't have royals in America.
We don't. That's our bad. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, my idiot brother is soft enough to believe them. That's him. Sirius jabbed a finger at the very bottom of the tree at the name Regulus Black, a date of death some 15 years previously followed the date of birth.
Oh, okay. What's happening here is the Tom Riddle thing again, the Tom Marvolo riddle, where not all of the things are being put in order before you, so you can't figure out RAB just yet.
Right. Yes. Yeah. So we don't have Regulus Arcturus Black.
Yeah.
Visibly written out or anything. But the date of death, 15 years previously, is rather interesting date-wise. So we recently just made a video that basically delved into the idea that Regulus potentially had been the chosen one before Harry.
Oh yeah.
And the idea here is or the irony, the coincidence is that Harry is newly 15. And so if Regulus died some 15 years previous, then it is almost as if like Regulus died and then shortly thereafter Harry was born.
Right.
And
like
and
his
so-
death, like I think we tried to like see if it could time out that like literally Regulus's death directly was the cause of Trelawney making the first prophecy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Like whether or not it would make sense for like if Regulus's death happened at the same time that Trelawney was interviewing with Dumbledore.
Right. Like
and so he died and then then it sparks.
Yeah, like his death was the catalyst.
Right.
Yeah, for the prophecy.
Right.
Yeah, because the one with the power to, had died.
Exactly.
So like, but then if that's what's true then, or what's cool then, if that's true, is that like if Harry had died, like had lost this battle for whatever reason, which he really can't do, someone would have continued to come.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And in some way, I don't hate that because it means like there's a lot of pressure on this idea of being the chosen one.
Yeah.
But it also means that like even if you don't succeed, you've probably fought the fight that someone else will pick up. And with Regulus, that fits perfect because he is fighting the fight. He collects the first Horcrux. He is the only Death Eater who discovers the secret.
Yeah.
True. And not only does he discover it, but he also turns.
Yeah.
So that's a big deal.
Right. Yes. So it's getting some fun Black family history here. Also setting up some RAB stuff in the future, way down the line here. Because I think, we're going to have Regulus. Is this at the same page that the locket gets mentioned? Golly, that'd be crazy. No, I don't think it is though. Anyway, we start learning about, Sirius's parents, and he says, no, but believe me, they thought Voldemort had the right idea. They were all for the purification of the wizarding race, getting rid of muggle bones and having pure bloods in charge. Now, I think that this is like good setup too, just for Umbridge, where you have like the whole, I think Lupin will say it a book later, or maybe it's this book. It's like the world isn't made up to Death Eaters and bad. Oh, there it is. Yeah. The world isn't split into good people and Death Eaters. And that's Umbridge. And that was also Sirius's parents. Like they're not Death Eaters, but like, that doesn't make them good people. Like you can be a bad person and not a Death Eater.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think you're right. That is what you see with Umbridge in really fine form because Umbridge never formally becomes a Death Eater. She just is a pain in the patookus.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yes. But okay. So I think this is real interesting is what it says afterward. They weren't alone either. There were quite a few people before Voldemort showed his true colors who thought he had the right idea about things, which is like really interestingly phrased because it sounds like there was a bunch of people who were like conned into believing Voldemort's like, his ideals until he was like, okay, now I've got enough power to actually carry out my real plans. And now I'm like killing people and doing stuff. And people were like, oh, wait, no, wait.
Yeah, it's like you had me like, and on some level, I feel like there is something to be said for the fact that like wizards effectively like live in hiding at all times, and that the statute of secrecy is like the precipice of their policy is like anything that like lets the general populace know that we exist is like a danger to our entire kind. And it's sort of like you want those like intermuggle relations to be better so that you can live harmoniously together.
Yeah.
Like just fully integrated. And that is not the case. So I could see a world where if Voldemort started coming out and delivering rhetoric that was similar to like what caught on with Grindelwald, which was effectively like, we don't need to live beneath them. you know, of course, Grindelwald was like, we should be above them. And it's like, no, we should be with them.
Right.
You know, is probably the right idea. But I could see a world where if you're advocating for wizard rights, then like that seems like a good thing if you're a wizard, you know, like why not?
Yeah.
But not if it means killing people, not if it
Right.
means, you know, being murderous.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a very big line to cross.
Right, right. So, I mean, it just sounds like a lot of, and it makes you wonder if like even Mr. and Mrs. Black like didn't, well, who knows? They sound like maybe they were pretty extreme, but it's like, it is interesting. Like there were a lot of people who thought he had the right idea before he showed his true colors, you know, like he like lied his way into power. And then once he started doing stuff, people like hated it.
Well, it also makes it sound like Voldemort's position is much more like public facing than has ever really been previously described. Like
That's true.
It never really, to me, reads as if like Tom Riddle or Voldemort was like running for like public office.
No, I know. Yeah.
You know, like
That's true.
It seemed like he was just like seizing power.
Right. He was just like a guy with ideas.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. But then like the second time around, it's not like he's personally out there doing stuff. It's just sort of like people know he's back.
Exactly.
He's like his reputation precedes him.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's see then. So Harry asked, you know, how Regulus died, because you also find out a little bit that he got in so far, then panicked about what he was being asked to do and tried to back out. And he says, no, he was murdered by Voldemort, or on Voldemort's orders, more likely. I doubt Regulus was ever important enough to be killed by Voldemort in person. It's like, well, in a way, he kind of was.
In a way, he kind of was. Yes,
Yeah.
it's true. And what I do think is kind of like interesting about this as well is that like the thing that ultimately made Regulus back out is the way that Kreacher is treated. So like as much as like Regulus may have this like pure blood mania or whatever, it's like he cared enough for his house elf for that to be his deal breaker.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like I want to say that speaks good to his character.
I mean, absolutely. I agree. Let's see, because it says she was. Here's the line I was talking about last week. All right, remember the chapter art from last week with the soup and the knife and the bread. Next we hear is lunch, said Mrs. Weasley's voice. She was holding her wand high in front of her, balancing a huge tray loaded with sandwiches and cake on its tip. Yep. She was very red in the face and still looked angry. Yeah. Okay. Yelling at Fred and George for it.
Right.
Doing it yourself.
Here you are. Look at you carrying a giant tray of sandwiches.
With magic.
Wow.
Just because you can doesn't mean you have to.
Molly.
Okay.
Oh man. Then we learned about Phineas Nigellus, who of course we've already gotten mild reference to in the boys' bedroom. His great-great-grandfather and the least popular headmaster ever at Hogwarts.
Yeah, you can actually interact with this character in Hogwarts Legacy, the game.
Oh, is he the headmaster?
He is the headmaster then, yes.
So the late 1800s?
It's like 100 years ago.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Voiced by Simon Pegg. Fun fact.
How about that?
Which, they should totally get him. This would be a really great thing to put in the TV show, is to have Simon Pegg play Phineas Nigellus in the portrait.
That will happen.
They have to do that.
They have to
do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. In any case, then we also hear about Araminta Melliflua, who tried to make Muggle hunting legal. Excuse me?
I just wrote yikes.
That's exactly. Yikes.
No way.
Literally wrote the word yikes.
That's so funny.
Like, whoa.
Yeah, that's not good.
Not good.
Also trivia, Araminta Melliflua, which if you ask me that on tour, I will be so upset because there's no way in the world I will ever remember it.
Araminta Melliflua.
I'm like looking at it and forgetting it in real time.
Araminta Melliflua. It's got a nice little like rhythmness to it.
It does have that. It does have that. Yeah.
But so then let's see. And then he starts talking about the pure blood families. He says, I see Tonks isn't on here. Maybe that's why Kreacher won't take orders from her. He's supposed to do what anyone in the family asks him. Which, that's interesting, because does that mean it's down to Kreacher to make the distinction who's in the family?
I know what you mean. I think that this is it seems flawed to me.
It does.
Because it seems like if he didn't have to follow Sirius's instructions, he just wouldn't.
Right.
But then when the house gets passed from Sirius to Harry, then the way that they determine whether or not Harry is the master of Kreacher is that he has to give him an order.
And he just has to listen.
And he like can't not listen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I don't see how it could be disobeying Tonks.
I don't know either. It doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make sense to me. No, doesn't me. But let's see. So because Tonks is Sirius's cousin.
Tonks is Sirius's cousin's daughter.
Sirius's cousin's daughter.
Yes. So Sirius's cousin is Andromeda.
And right. So who is Andromeda's blood relation to Sirius? I guess is the question.
Well, they're blacks,
so
it had to be
Mr. Black's sibling.
It's Orion, I think, is their dad.
Okay.
Orion's brother.
Orion. Okay.
Orion's brother.
Okay. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if they just sound blood related. Yeah,
I think that they're just blood related.
Yeah, they're just blood related. Okay, never mind. It definitely should be. I was trying to wonder, how, your daughter is not blood related to Beth, my wife.
Yes, right. I
was
follow.
that somewhere in there?
Right, but I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't think so. Yeah, because Tonks, obviously that's her surname, is Ted Tonks. Like that's where the name comes from.
Yeah.
So that means that the wife had to be, and we know Andromeda was a black.
Yeah.
Which means, they have to be blood related.
Yeah. You know, because regardless, cousins are blood related.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter. In any case, I don't know how we can not listen to Tonks then is the question. Let's see. Then he points out Andromeda's name. It's between Bellatrix and Narcissa. This is the first time we learn about the Black sisters, and Harry starts piecing some things together here, or he realizes that Narcissa is Draco's mom because he can see Lucius and Draco on the family tree, and Harry is like, "You're related to the Malfoys?" Yeah, I imagine he was mid spit take.
Yeah, I imagine so too. It's like he needed like a glass of water just right then to just like spray it all over the wall.
Yeah, Kreacher, could you bring me some water?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. This is where you learn though that the pureblood families are all interrelated. If you're only going to let your sons and daughter marry pureblood, your choice is very limited. There are hardly any of us left. Molly and I are cousins by marriage, and Arthur's something like my second cousin once removed.
There you go.
We use that information a lot because it comes up, especially when you're trying to like trace lineage type things in the wizarding world. It's also sort of like the demise of the Gaunts. And
pretty much.
And again, I think I've talked about this a couple times recently, but as much as this is true in the case that Narcissa Black married Lucius Malfoy, which was a respectable pureblood marriage, the Malfoys are not historically known for always marrying pureblood.
No, they are not.
They've kept a slightly more diverse bloodline.
Yeah. Let's see. And then Harry is sort of following the other names, and he sees Bellatrix Black connected to Rodolphus Lestrange. And suddenly the name Lestrange starts to like spin something in his head. He can't quite remember what it was.
But it goes back to the pensive, basically. Yeah. Like where he's heard the name before is that Bellatrix and her husband Rodolphus came in with Barty Crouch Jr., along with Rodolphus's brother, Rabastin. So this is the group of 4 people that come into the chamber that Harry witnesses.
Yes.
So Bellatrix is like looking like a queen in her chained throne and all that.
I'm trying to remember if it says like Lestrange, like the name stirred something in his memory, but like, I don't think they say her name in the 4th book.
Oh, do they not?
I don't think so.
It's just like the heavily lidded.
It's just like the heavily lidded woman.
Yeah, the tall, dark woman with heavy lidded eyes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if does someone else say Lestrange at somewhere, because I want to say like, and Harry remembered he had seen Bellatrix Lestrange inside Dumbledore's Pensive. Like I think that might be the first full name mention of her.
Okay.
Right there.
Okay. Well, and I can't remember the order either. I hate when this happens, but it says you never said she was your. Does it matter if she's my cousin? Snap Sirius. So this feels like a conversation that would have happened in the cave. Like
Right, you're right. Oh, maybe. Yeah, the Lestranges. Maybe? Man, I'm so curious now.
I know.
All right, hold please. I'm going to look it up. Okay. It is mentioned very briefly in Goblet of Fire on 3 separate occasions. First, in Padfoot Returns, it's the Lestranges. They're a married couple. They're in Azkaban. Let's see. I want to say that's when he says Rosier and Wilkes, they're both killed by Aurors the year before Voldemort fell. The Lestranges, they're a married couple. They're in Azkaban. Avery, from what I've heard, he wormed his way out of trouble by saying he'd been acting under the Imperious Curse. He's still at large. But as far as I know, Snape was never ever accused of being a Death Eater. Not that means much. Plenty of them were never caught, and Snape's certainly clever and cunning enough to keep himself out of trouble. So yeah, that's got to be in the cave when they're talking about it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So I suppose that makes sense then, like where Harry chimes in and he says, you never said she was your, doesn't matter if she's my cousin, because it means that they've talked about them before, like this couple, this pairing.
Yeah.
And Sirius made no mention at that time the significance of it. Like, oh, the Lestranges, my cousin, actually. Like,
yeah.
You would think would be like the thing he might include.
You would. And then Voldemort mentions them twice. When he's circling around the Death Eater circle, he says, the Lestranges should stand here. And when Azkaban is broken open, the Lestranges will be honored beyond their dreams.
There you go.
Okay.
Yep,
So that is the stirring of the memories.
Okay. We got it. Well done. Good for you for going and looking.
Yeah. All right. We figured it out. But of course, Sirius doesn't even consider her family. He even says that she's certainly not my family. I haven't seen her since I was your age, unless you kind of glimpse of her coming to Azkaban. So this is very similar to Harry, though. Like, he is also not proud of his own relatives in the Dursleys.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah. It's like, I don't think that on any level Harry would want to be judged based on Dudley.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they kind of almost said the exact thing, like, or Sirius is like, I never thought I'd be in this house again. And Harry understood completely. He knew how he would feel if Forrest, when he was grown up and thought he was free of the place forever, to return and live at number 4 Privet Drive. So yeah, I can, like, it'd be, yeah, like if Harry eventually somehow, 20 years from now is like, oh my God, I'm living at Privet Drive again. What happened?
Right.
Yeah.
This was not supposed to be the case.
Not the
I
case.
was never supposed to see the cupboard under the stairs ever again. And yet.
Here we are.
Yeah. So then we get a little bit more information about number 12 itself, where we learn that Sirius's father had put every security measure known to the wizard kind when he lived there. It's unplottable, so muggles could never come and call as if they'd wanted to.
Yeah.
And now Dumbledore's added his protection, so you'd be hard-pressed to find a safer house anywhere. Dumbledore's secret keeper for the Order, and nobody can find headquarters unless he tells them personally.
Yeah.
So that's major lore, honestly. Like that's like a very important line as to what we know about being a secret keeper in the Fidelius Charm.
Yes, yeah. Probably the most we got on it since Flitwick told us about it back in book 3.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and then, Sirius just reminiscing, saying, I wouldn't mind if I could get out occasionally and do something useful. And it's like, it's so bad. And then he says, he tries to get, he's asked Dumbledore if he can escort him to the trial so I can give you a bit of moral support. What do you think? And you can tell Harry's just like, I don't know about that.
Well, it's tricky because it's like Harry doesn't actually react. Like it just says that he's like his stomach felt, and it's like he hadn't thought about the hearing since like dinner the previous evening. Like in the excitement of being back with the people he liked best, of hearing everything that was going on. Like it's almost like, it's like now the dread is just coming back. It's like, you just reminded me of the terrible thing I have to do. Like that homework assignment we still have.
Right. Exactly.
It's like, oh no, I forgot about that.
Oh my God, I forgot.
Right.
I was going to go sledding tonight.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Snow day. So this is, then Harry's looking over at like the Weasleys and Hermione, tucking into sandwiches and how miserable it would be. Like this often I think is the loneliness that Harry uniquely feels. Like Ron and Hermione always have his back, but like, I think somehow, some way, this is like the curse that Voldemort has placed upon him. It's like, he has an unusual set of circumstances. He has unusual, like weird, like something about him that he can't control that means he's different from everybody. And that always makes him slightly separate.
Yeah.
And I think that does just come with a high degree of loneliness.
Yep. And then, Harry kind of asks Sirius another question and says, but if they do expel me, can I come back here and live with you? And Sirius, smiles sadly, says, we'll see. I feel like he knows about the bond of blood at the very least. And it's sort of like, that's not going to happen. But like, he knows that, like, I feel like neither of them wants to tell the other that idea or like, no, it's like, he's like, what do you think? Should I come with you with Snuffles? And I feel like Harry's just like, no,
don't risk it.
Don't risk it.
I don't want you to get caught.
Yeah, and
like that would be worse.
But if I do get expelled, can I come with you? And Sirius is like, I want to say yes, but
no. Right. It's like you're not. Maybe when you're 17.
Yeah. Exactly. Says I'd feel a lot better about the hearing if I wouldn't have to go back to the Dursleys. And Sirius is like, oh, they must be bad if you prefer this place. Yeah. So they both just feel like their own situation is worse for wear or whatever here. Sirius is staying a bad bite from now here we go. Now is when we get the clearing of the objects, which seemed very reluctant to leave their dusty shelves. Sirius sustained a bad bite from a silver snuff box. His hand had been developed an unpleasant, crusty covering like a tough brown glove. I feel like you're always really good at remembering that fact.
I think that I got it wrong on like a quiz recently because it was like wart cap powder.
Oh, which is the next thing. It is wart cap powder.
The two things are connected. I can't remember. I literally I got like all riled up when I read this again because I was like, I swear in a recent J versus Ben, I got this question wrong. And it was like, but I didn't.
No. So there it is. The tough brown glove of the wart cap powder.
That's right.
And then let's see. Harry saw George wrap his own hand carefully in a cloth moments later and sneak the box into his already doxy-filled pocket. There you go. And there you go.
Yeah, Fred and George's pockets must just be like positively exploding.
Yes.
With random artifacts. So
exactly.
Nobody's getting anything done here.
No.
Like Kreacher's in there taking half of it. Fred and George are scooping half of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then let's see what comes to life here. A many-legged pair of tweezers, which scuttled up Harry's arm. Like, what on earth is this thing?
Yeah. A heavy book titled Nature's Nobility, A Wizarding Genealogy.
Yeah. Feels like a good trivia question. Please don't ask that one.
Yep.
Nature's Nobility. Oh, God. And then here we go. And also, just almost as an afterthought, also a heavy locket that none of them could open. There you go. It's just tucked in there, right there, after a semicolon. Boom. It's part of a list of like afterthoughts. A heavy locket no one could open, a number of ancient seals in a dusty box, an order of Moreland first class that had been awarded to Sirius's grandfather for services to the ministry, which immediately makes you wonder, what did he do? And Sirius is like, it means he gave them a lot of gold. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. I forgot about that locket already.
Right.
But the locket is, of course, the Horcrux.
It
is Slytherin's locket that Regulus Black mentioned 1 page ago, retrieved from the cave.
Well, and it's kind of interesting as well because like I think there's like a piece of you that might be like, well, why doesn't like the locket start like impacting them and like ruining their mood? And it's like if you think about it, like everybody is in a terrible mood.
Everyone is in a bad mood,
right? So it's like they may not know that that's like what they're attributing it to, and like Harry's got the trial upcoming and everything. So it like he's stressed about something already. He would have no idea if something else was making him more stressed, more anxious.
And they're also not wearing it, which is what really starts affecting the trio.
Also true. But it's immediately after this reference that it says several times, Kreacher settled into the room and attempted to smuggle things away under his loincloth.
Mm-hmm. And we know he gets the locket here.
Yes, because that is definitely one of the things that he picks up.
Yes, so he is being successful.
Right.
Yep. Muttering horrible curses every time they caught him at it, which means they're not catching him every time.
Also true.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So then we have a little bit of a page break. It says Mrs. Weasley kept them all working very hard over the next few days. The drawing room took 3 days to decontaminate.
3 days.
Well, I mean, if like this is what Ron says when Harry first arrives. He's like, we've been trying to make this place like fit for habitation, or maybe Hermione says it. So it's like,
how big is this room though?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I picture this place as quite large for some reason.
It has to be. Yeah. I mean, if it took hours, I'm like, when people say like the curtains, I'm like, well, like I I could just take my curtains down and put them in the washing machine, you know?
It's
Like-
true. I have the same conversation with my wife Alice all the time about curtains because she's explained to me that like curtains are like one of those things that like if done right are like extremely expensive. Like, and to me, I'm like, you mean the pieces of cloth that we like hang from like a flimsy rod over the windows?
Yeah,
Like,
right. Yeah.
that thing.
I know. I'm trying to imagine like if you go to the Biltmore and you walk around one of those old houses and it's like how many curtains would there need to be that it took you all morning to get the doxies out of them?
It's true.
You know?
Well, how small are doxies too?
Exactly.
I guess, yeah.
Like to me, when I'm thinking about like the curtains in the drawing room, they're like as big as the wall behind us.
Exactly.
You know? And
yeah.
I'm like,
yeah.
you guys could be done in like, there's no way. Like if the doxies are big enough to be landing on the floor with a thud, they're big enough that there can't be but so many of them in there.
True.
Right?
True. Yes.
Yeah.
Unless it's like the size of like a locust, where it's like theoretically that could land with a thud because it's kind of like a chunky little insect guy.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, you know, there could also be, I mean, that would be gross. There are like 4,000 locusts hiding. Sorry, I gotta stop talking. People are. I swear, I think people are gonna click away. They're gonna be like, guys, I won't do it. I won't listen to you talk about these things.
Anyway. And moving on, Moody had not dropped by headquarters yet, so they could not be sure what was inside it, even though we know it is a Boggart. And then there are spiders large as saucers lurking in the dresser, where Ron has to suddenly leave the room and not return for a little while.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder, one, are these like acromantulas? Because they're so big. And two, did Fred and George pocket any, as it were? Because as we know, acromantula venom, very valuable.
That they almost certainly did.
Yeah, right.
One way, even if they're not acromantulas, they definitely took something.
They
from
definitely
it.
took something, right?
Yeah.
I wish we knew what Slughorn said. I wish he told you what the venom could be used for.
I know, that would have been really nice.
Because then we could see if it was in the shop, you know?
Right.
Yeah, like an application for it. But
Right. Yeah.
oh well. Snape, let's see. Snape comes by and says, might refer to their work as cleaning, but Harry's opinion, they were really waging war on the house. And it was putting up a very good fight, aided and abetted by Kreacher. Yeah, pretty much.
Well, we know how Kreacher's a soldier.
Yeah.
Fight for my master.
Yeah. Let's see.
Brave Regulus Black.
And he seems like, and then there's this line from him that says, but Master will not turn Kreacher away, no, because Kreacher knows what they're up to. Oh, yes, he's plotting against the Dark Lord, yes, with the mudbloods and the traitors and scum. So it's like, Kreacher is smarter than you're giving him credit for. Like, he knows, like, given the opportunity, he will turn on them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah. The doorbell again rang several times a day. Snape flitted out of the house. He also caught sight of his transfiguration Professor McGonagall, looking very odd in a muggle dress and coat, though she also seemed too busy to linger. Let's see here. Sometimes the visitors stayed to help. Tonks joined them for a memorable afternoon in which they found a murderous old ghoul lurking in an upstairs toilet.
Murderous.
And I'm like, you know, as you might find in a toilet.
I know. And I'm like, what do you mean you just found it? Haven't you guys been here for like months? No one's been in the upstairs toilet the whole time?
I literally wrote in a note that goes, "Shoo-wee, do not go in there."
Seriously. Yeah. That was a rough one, y'all. That was a rough one. Man, I don't understand how no one found the ghoul before now.
It does seem shocking.
Whatever. I'd also be pretty murderous if I was a ghoul living in a toilet and people kept flushing stuff on me.
Well, you know, there's that.
Yeah.
We've seen how Moaning Myrtle behaves.
Yeah.
Although I think the next paragraph is even more shocking because it says, this is like a piece of trivia that I know we've also been asked before. Mundungus redeemed himself slightly in Mrs. Weasley's eyes by rescuing Ron from an ancient set of purple robes that had tried to strangle him when he removed them from their wardrobe.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, I guess that happened.
There you go.
Yeah.
I feel like that's brain foreshadowing, if you ask me.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Because he gets attacked in an extremely similar way by the brain tendrils later on in the Department of Mysteries. Where you get that awesome line from Dumbledore where it's like, thoughts can leave deeper scars than wounds. And you're like, oh.
That's intense.
That was intense right there.
Yeah.
And then Harry's still having the dreams about the corridors and locked doors that make a scar prickle. This is because Voldemort is already obsessing about the prophecy. So it's good that the Order is already guarding it, I guess.
Right.
Yep. But in good news, Harry was managing to have fun for the first time all summer. Which is so good. Good for Harry, even though while they're waging war on the house. Hooray.
I know, yeah. It's like he's having like an oddly, there's a piece of me that like I said, I think there's something oddly satisfying about like the doxing thing or whatever. I'm like, I think I would just enjoy this. Like, I think it would just be like fun to like watch the house like come back to life a little bit.
Yeah, right.
Because you have to imagine all this work is making it like much more habitable by the day.
By the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And probably what was otherwise, if it was like a nobleman's house, like probably should in its best condition be like somewhat comfortable.
Yeah. That's what you have to imagine. Like it was very nice at some point.
That's my thought.
Yeah.
That's my thought. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Let's see. And then he keeps thinking about being expelled. The idea was so terrible that he did not dare voice it aloud, even to Ron and Hermione, who, though he often saw them whispering together and casting anxious looks in his directions, followed his lead in not mentioning it. So good for them. I guess they're all, they're all kind of worried that it's like something's going to go wrong here. Which, I mean, the ministry certainly tries to make it go as wrong as possible.
They definitely do. The thing that I feel like is brought up is like, it's not going to be until like the beginning of the next chapter where I think like they're talking about how Madame Bones is supposed to be the person who is going to be questioning him. And I think, Tonk says like, Amelia Bones is okay, Harry. She's fair. She'll hear you out. And it's like obviously that doesn't end up happening once the trial comes to pass.
Right.
They like move it to like one of the old chambers or whatever. And it's like a full criminal trial. But like, it seems like if they have this piece of information, they should be like, honestly, like we know Amelia Bones, like she's not the worst. Like this isn't going to be that bad.
Yeah, give him some comforting thoughts.
Give him some comforting thoughts, exactly. Because they do that once it's day of. It's just nobody says that until it's day of.
Yeah.
Which is surprising. But speaking of, it's like it is now the night before the trial, and Mrs. Weasley says that I've ironed your best clothes for tomorrow, Harry, which you can only imagine is like the best hand-me-downs that he possessed from Dudley. Maybe.
Yeah, right.
Like, or maybe a cloak, I guess. He's going to like a wizard
or
place.
A cape.
A cape, it could be a cape.
Yeah,
it's a good
point. Finest cape.
I've ironed your finest cape, and I want you to wash your hair tonight too. A good first impression can work wonders. I don't know why. I was like, has Harry not showered since he's been there?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, she's like, Harry, I need you to shower tonight, okay?
Right.
It's like I hate to.
This is a little bit of a Petunia moment, where it's like, wash your hair and put on Dudley's best clothes.
Yeah, you're right. That's exactly what it is. Oh man.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Ron, Hermione, Fred, and George, Ginny all stopped talking and looked over at him. Harry nodded and tried to keep eating his chops, but his mouth had become so dry that he could not chew.
Oh, it's nothing worse than overcooked pork chops, y'all.
I literally was like, chops are always dry.
They're always dry.
Yeah.
Hard to get right.
We get the explanation that Arthur's planning to take Harry the next morning. They're going to be going sort of like the usual way through the Muggle entrance.
Oh.
But yeah, and they don't want Sirius to go with him. And this is where Molly is like, Professor Dumbledore doesn't think it's a good idea for Sirius to go with you. And I must say, and Sirius cuts in, think he's quite right, said Sirius through clenched teeth. Sirius, I bet, is mad.
He is mad.
It's like you went over my head, and that's not cool.
Yeah.
It's like, you went to Dumbledore. I get it. I'm going to listen to him because it's Dumbledore, but you shouldn't have asked him.
You shouldn't have. What do you think Molly asked him?
I don't know.
Okay.
I guess it says, when did Dumbledore tell you that? Harry said, staring at Sirius.
Yeah.
He came last night while you were on bed, said Mr. Weasley. And yeah, so I don't know. It's hard to say how that would have come to pass, but the thought that Dumbledore had been in the house on the eve of his hearing and had not asked to see him made him feel, if it were possible, even worse.
Oh, I can only imagine.
I know. Yeah, it's very frustrating. So
yeah.
I then took the liberties of drawing a picture, and you probably can't see it very well, of what Harry looks like in this particular moment. And it ended up being so creepy that I also wrote a little apology for whoever
gets this page.
Because he looks so creepy.
He's like, yeah. Oh my goodness. Let's see. And it's like, so my notes here at the end were like, the reason Dumbledore is doing all of this, putting all this effort into protecting the prophecy is because like if Voldemort gets it or whatever, then like he'll have to tell Harry what the prophecy says. And so he's doing it in a way to protect Harry for as long as he can from living with the burden of the prophecy, which is to say the knowledge that he will have to be the one to kill Voldemort so that hopefully Harry can live a like normal life, which he, obviously just does not have anyway.
That's the real issue, is that it's like, I think that, Dumbledore's intentions are in the right place, but like realistically, it's not helping Harry at all, because Harry just feels the weight of the burden on his shoulders anyway. And instead he's just in the dark. So it's like, now he just doesn't know.
Right.
And I can't imagine it would be much better knowing that he would have to kill Voldemort or be killed.
Right.
Either. Like, that's not any better. It's just, for all people involved, it's a rock and a hard place. I don't think there's a great out.
Yeah.
But it's frustrating in the meantime, because the lack of information just means you, the reader, just have to like witness Harry constantly spiraling.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that does bring us to the end of chapter 6 and gets us looking forward to chapter 7, the Ministry of Magic.
It sure does.
Which should be a fun chapter to delve into. But before we take off for the day, Jay, do you have a review for us?
I sure do. Let me pull it up for you guys here. This one comes from Fred and George, spelled F-H-R-E-D and J-O-R-G-E.
Ooh.
Yeah. Fred and George.
Fred and George.
All right, and it's a nice little short one here. It says, "Hey, brother, I love this podcast and listen to it on a daily basis, making my way through Goblet and loving it. My question is, what if Lily was an animagi?"
Ooh.
Right? What do you think she'd be?
What do we think Lily would be? Is she commonly associated with any specific creature?
Well, there's like the Silver Doe at the very least.
There is the Silver Doe, and we know that James's animagus form is the same as his Patronus, which is a stag, and then that the doe of Snape obviously matches. So there's that. So it certainly would. The shortest reach is to a doe.
Is to a doe. Right.
Yeah. Then there's a goldfish.
A goldfish
named
like
Trousers.
Trousers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Named Francis.
Named Francis.
Yeah.
Francis. He says it in such a strange way.
He does. I can't emulate it at all.
I know. Yes. In case you don't know what we're talking about, we always thought that Slughorn inside of the movies is referring to a goldfish that he once had named. We thought he was saying Trousers, but if you listen to it very carefully, he's saying like Trousers.
Yeah. That was pretty good.
I had a goldfish. Trousers.
Yeah.
And it's like I hear Francis, but like I heard Trousers.
Yeah. It's like the one you're thinking about is the one you'll hear.
It is. It really is like one of those weird little things.
Yeah.
Is there anything else fun that could be in there? Like Lily obviously is a flower, the death flower in particular.
What do you know?
What do you know? Are there any other animals that are commonly associated with death?
With death, animals.
Thestrals.
Thestral, that'd be an interesting one.
I mean, that's my Patronus.
Yeah. I don't know if your animagus can be a magical animal,
beast.
Though.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it. Although we say that, and I feel like we would offer like some leeway for the possibility for Dumbledore to be a phoenix.
Well, you're right. I mean, that's like a whole different situation, though.
Right.
Wherein, not that his animagus form is a phoenix.
Right.
That in death, Dumbledore's become phoenixes.
Also true. Yes, correct.
Which is also part of like Phoenix lore. They're reborn, kind of thing.
Exactly.
It's almost more like Dumbledore's are Phoenix's human-agi form.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know what I mean?
A human-agi.
A human-agi.
I love it. I love it. Okay, that's really good. That's really good. Gosh, I wish I could think of something else that would feel like really fitting for.
Well, the only other character we really know Lily has much relationship with, besides James, is like Petunia and Snape.
Right.
And Petunia doesn't really seem like she likes animals at all, unless like they're like pigs or something. I guess. Just because of all the allusions to Dudley being a pig.
Oh, sure.
That's not very much to go on and very mean.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't think Lily's animagus form would match her unborn nephew.
Right. Yeah. Like Lily and Dudley, unfortunately, would have had a great connection. Had they been able to interact more.
Right. If only. But then, I mean, like a bat or something,
For Snape.
Yeah.
But she doesn't love Snape.
I don't love Snape. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least not that way.
But your animagus form isn't based on like love in the same way your Patronus might be.
Right. Of course, what we're speaking to here is that Tonks's Patronus changes to match what appears to be a werewolf.
Yeah.
Or at least like a large beastly creature.
A large four-legged something.
A large four-legged something, as we'll find out in Half-Blood Prince. Let's think. I mean, I mean, it just almost feels like it has to be a doe.
And that's really the main animal she's connected with.
Just especially because that's like what James is, and like they go on to be married and have a child and everything. So like it just seems like for it to sync up, it just has to sync up that way.
Right. I know.
Okay, what's another animal that might be known for its kindness?
The kindest animal.
Yes, and also like, or do any animals like notoriously have green eyes?
I know. What else could be the eyes? But then you like deers have fairly striking eyes, you know.
Sure. Yeah.
In a way.
Do you have your phone out? Can you Google?
I'm looking for animal of death.
Oh, animal of death. Okay. The death animal.
The death animal. Crows. Duh. Crows are ravens.
Okay. Yeah.
Owls, jackals, dogs, and butterflies. What?
Butterflies is interesting.
That is. Crows and ravens seem like they're clearly the ones.
Yeah, very Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah. You guys watching Wednesday? That show's great.
It is good. Okay. Well, I think I'm just going to have to leave it at doe for now. We'll continue to ponder on that because I always love a scenario where like the video that we would make for Super Carlin Brothers would be like, now you would think it'd be a doe. We understand.
I know. That's what we would try and sell you on something else.
There's no way we leave it there.
I know. No, it's been like, this is a fun answer.
Right.
Got to be something better.
Anyway, be sure to leave all your thoughts in the towel section down below.
Yeah, what do you think Lily's animagus would be?
Right. But otherwise, I think that's going to do it for today's episode.
Yeah, I think so. Otherwise, I think as you're listening to this, we're on the road for Through the Griffin tour.
Yes, we are indeed.
Yes.
So hopefully if you guys are coming out to the shows, you've been enjoying them. And in the meantime, those episodes will eventually come out on the channel. So you will get to see what it is like to be out there on tour.
We probably won't put the audio in the feed, but if you want to, you can go to the YouTube channel and watch it from there.
Yeah, for sure. Great reason to go. And we would love to get a silver play button for Through the Gryffindor.
Yes, we would.
Want to go and hit that subscribe button.
We're getting closer and closer to 50,000. So if you want to help us get there, that would be amazing. Thank you so much in advance. It'd be so cool to put a little silver play button back here. That'd be fun.
I would be so thrilled.
I know. I'd be so excited. So, if you're not subscribed, hit this. Some people don't know they're not subscribed. Maybe it shows up in your feed every week and you're like, yeah, I'm subscribed. But YouTube will do that even if you're not. So just check.
Just go check. Yeah.
Because it doesn't cost you anything and it's super helpful to us. And thank you. Otherwise, hopefully we'll see you right back here next week for Chapter 7, The Ministry of Magic, here on Through the Griffin Door.
Today's episode was edited by Ethan Edghill. Vaishon Brandon does our art. Catherine Stein is our production manager, and the show is hosted by me and Jonathan Carlin.